Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. So I'm doing the brakes on my 735 IL E32 and I thought I would make a quick update video. This won't be a full, step-by-step process video. So yeah, this side I completed. I changed the hose to a Corteco brake hose. Fits perfectly. Also changed the rotor, the pads. I got Hella pads and a Pagid, and also I rebuilt the caliper with dust boots, square cut seal, new bleeder screw, and so on. Yeah, I'll just move to another side that I have not completed yet. Okay, so I am on the front right side, and here I got the caliper that I rebuilt. So it's quite an involved process, I have to say. It can work flawlessly and quickly, but most likely if it's an old car, it's gonna take some time. That's why people buy remanufactured calipers. They're just so much easier to just reinstall. But I wanted to save a bit of money, but also enjoy the process and experience what a caliper is made of and restore it. So what I did is well, first of all, I removed the caliper, obviously, and I changed the hose on this side, and it's just curling on top there, and I used a rag on top so it doesn't spill, and so yeah. I took out the caliper, and what I did is initially I removed the bleeder screw, and then also started blowing air into this hole here for the brake fluid, and I could see the piston moving slightly like this, but I could not get the piston all the way out like in all the YouTube videos I watched. So I thought, what's going on? And I was using a lot of pressure, like 125, 140 psi, so quite a lot. So then I thought, well, if I'm pushing air in here and I got the bleeder screw out, then the air is just escaping here, so there's no pressure over here. So I reinstalled the bleeder screw, and then that was much better. I could see the piston, pushing out, but at some point it became stuck. So what I did is I used a C-clamp, one of these things. So I just put it there and then pushed the piston all the way in, and that I guess broke some debris and junk on all around the piston, because when I blew air after that, it just went shooting out, and I placed a small piece of wood here just to not damage the metal face of the piston. But yeah, so it came out great. But they were really the piston was really nasty. It had the brake fluid obviously was not changed in forever, and it was full of junk, really thick, and yeah, it was really not good. So I had to polish the piston. I got here some of what I used, just some chrome polish. Nothing too abrasive. It's a really smooth surface. Well, actually, hang on. I got the another piston here, waiting to be reassembled. So yeah, it's quite a mess in the garage at the moment, but it's okay. That's what a garage is for. It's not to store junk that you bought on sale. Anyway, so I got this is the right rear piston that I'm still rebuilding. So what I did is for this one is I just cleaned it up. I went with a with a pick inside the groove here for the square seal, because that's what seals with the piston, and also the seal for the dust boot, and just made it really clean as much as I can. And there's some corrosion in there, so there's some pitting, but I inspected, and I figured it would not affect the performance of the seal. We'll see. I'll just reinstall everything and test But yeah, let me just try to show you inside. So this is the inside of the caliper. It's mostly clean. I still have to blow some air and you know, clean it with a rag. But yeah, it's coming along nicely. I also cleaned the port here for the brake fluid and also for the bleeder screw. And here I got the piston wrapped in this small rag. And here you can see what it looks like when it's all cleaned. You know, I did not go overboard. I did not want to get, you know, every little stain out. You know, you can feel it with your finger, and you'll know when it's something that has to be polished out. You know, you'll feel a bit of a resistance, but this is perfectly smooth. This is all smooth, and yeah, I'll clean it with brake fluid. Maybe first with some a brake clean, and then yeah, I'll be able to reinstall it. And this is all smooth. The inside is a bit rusty. I cleaned it up, but not perfectly. But it's okay. You know, there's nothing that goes in here. It's just empty. So yeah, not too bad. I was really surprised because when you take this out, there's some rust, you know, on this surface, and then the brake fluid is really like it's almost green and thick. So I thought I was never able to clean this, but yeah, it cleans up really well. And I did not use, you know, you see some brushes here. I did not use any of these on this fine, smooth surface, but I did use these brushes all on the inside here, and also here where you insert your rubber sort of grommet. So yeah, not too bad of a process, but it takes time. You know, of course, when you make one, when you restore one, you have to restore all three others. So it takes some time, but it's pretty satisfying. Yeah, also for this brake rotor, as you can see, I had to drill the set screw to take out the rotor because it was really stuck, and I stripped the screw, so I had to drill it, and it worked really well, fortunately. So nothing bad happened there. I worried that you know, I might have to bring the car to a shop to get the rotor out, but no, it's okay. Oh yeah, about the brake hoses. So when you want to remove these nuts that are attached to the hoses, you really want to use a metal brush to clean all the surface around the nut, because you want to make sure that your flare wrench grabs this nut correctly. Otherwise, you end up with this, yeah, having to cut the line. So what happened is so this line goes over here on the trailing arm like this, and what happened is that I slipped my well, actually I tried really hard to get this nut off. It's the one behind there, and I just could not do it, and then it started rounding, and then yeah, at the end I had to cut it on this side over here. So yeah, I have to replace this hard line, and fortunately it's just a small length, 470 millimeters. But yeah, so I would suggest that you use instead, if you can, use some pliers to remove these nuts, because you don't want to strip them. I'll tell you that. So get a really firm grip with these, and then just go and then hit it with a hammer, so you get some impact action. And yeah, so what I did is I ordered a new line from BMW. It's actually hanging back here. So the coating is black, and it's a steel line with a black coating. And I ordered a tool to bend the line. So it's this thing here, and it works pretty well, but it marred the surface of the coating, so that wasn't nice. It's a 3/16 line, and yeah, it didn't really work all that well. probably because I don't have any experience in bending lines. I thought it would be easy, but it's quite hard to bend it correctly on the first time. So yeah, it kind of fits, but not really. I'd have to change the shape and rework it, but it's still you can't really go back once you make a curve. You can't go back. So that wasn't good enough. I really wanted something not OEM, but something better than that. So I'll show you what I ordered. So I ordered some nickel copper brake line in 3/16 size. So as you can see here, got it on Rock Auto. Really good price, really affordable, and let me try to show you the thickness. So it's quite thick actually, and it should give a good result. And it's I tried bending it, and here I think I can bend it, just like that. So yeah, I just made a bend like this. So it's quite easy to bend, and I got plenty of material here to practice. And I got this this kit from Lyle Tools. Really like this company. They make some good stuff. So I'll use this to flare the line and get a nice bubble flare. There's a double flare, single flare, and bubble flare. The BMW lines are bubble flares. So there's a die here that I'll need to use, or maybe this one. No, not this one. I think it's in this. Anyway, I have to figure it out. I did not check it yet. And I also got some, where are they? So I also got some flare nuts from SUR&R again, M10 by 1.0 Euro bubble flare nuts, and they're exactly the same ones as the BMW originals. Made in China, unfortunately, could not escape China. This is made in USA, so that's good. It says here, this is made in USA, so you win some, you lose some. So yeah, I'll have to practice, get familiar with flaring. My dad and brother are both in the field of refrigeration, so I'm used to 1/4-inch tubing, flaring, and things like that. So it's not really unfamiliar territory, but still, I want to get a nice square bubble flare there, so I get no leaks. But yeah, it should be simple. And another, while I'm in there, item is the brake shoes and the parking brake hardware. So I refreshed all of that, used some shoes from Phoebe, and it worked okay, fit perfectly, and new springs from ATE. And it's quite simple to install, really. I suggest that you when you're reinstalling the shoes, that you install this spring here at first with your adjustment thingy here, and then you can insert it like this and then clamp it over, and then you can just install the spring on top. You can use the hub assembly to pry and then get leverage to bring the spring over. That's how I did it, and it worked pretty well. It doesn't work on the first try, but you keep trying and you'll get it. And yeah, pretty simple process. And by the way, this caliper is hanging, and it's rebuilt and ready to go. So you can see the new rubber sort of bushings for the sliding pins that do not use any grease, by the way, according to specification. So don't use grease there. They're to be used dry. Yeah, let's move over to the master cylinder now. Actually, the first thing I did when starting this job is to take care of the master cylinder reservoir, because it was really dirty, really dark, full of sludgy brake fluid. Again, I don't think it was ever changed, honestly, but yeah, I had to do something about that. So I sucked all the brake fluid at the front here through the opening, but as you can see, there's a compartment. So there's a sort of a cut off here, and then there's just a small slit where the brake fluid can escape at the back here. So I think this is for the rear brakes, this is for the front brakes. but yeah, don't quote me. The rear compartment was still full of brake fluid, so when I pulled it, of course, it went splashing all over the place. So yeah, maybe get a small syringe if you want to suck all the fluid entirely. But yeah, not too bad. I changed the grommets also at the bottom here, and yeah, it's kind of strange that how it sits there, because you can wiggle it around, and I was thinking, well, that's never gonna hold the fluid. It's gonna leak surely. But yeah, no, of course I didn't try the brakes yet, but no, there's no leak. So yeah, I guess it's okay. And the design changed on the grommets, by the way. It still fits, but it's a slightly different design. So yeah, nice to have a clean reservoir to use new brake fluid in. And this is the brake fluid I use, the AT Type 200, without the blue dye in it. I think it's just silly. I don't need dye. So I got 2 bottles because this one is, maybe I got a quarter left. So because you use a lot of this stuff when cleaning the calipers and pistons and all of that, and as a lubrication as well. And you lose some fluid when changing the hoses too. So I recommend getting two bottles of 1 liter. It should be well enough to rebuild all the calipers and then do a last flush. So that was the update for the brake job. Pretty satisfying, when you're done rebuilding the calipers, putting new pads, rotors, and things like that. It's quite satisfying, but it takes time, especially if you have a job, kids, and not a lot of free time. Yeah, it does drag on, but yeah, pretty satisfying to do. So I can't wait to try the brakes, because they were really spongy before. Yeah, it should really improve the performance. I can't wait to try it. So yeah, I suggest that you do this job. A 30-year-old brake hardware, it does wear, so yeah, take care of your brakes. It's a safety item. And yeah, I'll have to say, I should have done this before. It should have been job number 1 or 2 or 3, but yeah, not 2 years after I've had the car. Or is it 3 years now? Yeah. So yeah, definitely do it sooner than I have, so you don't end up in a ditch somewhere. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, I got this setup over my engine. So I was just fitting this engine bar just to hold it, because I want to prepare for the subframe replacement. Let me show you a bit about that. So yeah, that's the new subframe I received from Florida. There's just a bit of rust, where it met with the car body, but not too bad actually, and it's in pretty good shape. There's a minor dent here, but yeah, really not the end of the world. Yeah, and the thing that's really nice with this subframe is when I take this idler arm and I insert it into the sort of bracket holder, and then use a screwdriver just to hold it in place. So when I move it and it reaches this stopper, it's perfectly flush. So don't know if you remember, but on my previous video, this arm was offset from this stopper, but now it's perfectly aligned. So you can see where it hits the stopper, and it's perfectly flush with the stopper. So it's perfect. So there was definitely an alignment problem with my subframe, and this one is all good. So now I'll know that my steering linkage is perfectly aligned and up to spec. So yeah, I can't wait to install this subframe. Probably after the brake job, I'll tackle this job. So yeah, look forward to this video. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thanks for looking at my update for the brakes. And yeah, quite a mess, but it's okay. That's why I do this hobby. It's not to have a clean garage, but nice and dirty and in use. So yeah, so thanks for watching. And of course, I have to end with a nice closing sound of the doors of the E32. Yeah, nice. So yeah, thanks for watching.